everybody, Corbino here, and we're reviewing the Sentry. It's a 5 issues. I don't know if they're going to continue, if they were testing it out or what. You know, I've known who the Sentry is. I've known who the Sentry was for, years. These little Marvel figures that I have, that I used to collect when I was a kid and try to get a bunch of. I have the Sentry up there on a shelf, and I've just kept him just because I kept him, and he was a cool little figure. But I've been trying to get rid of stuff that I don't fully connect to, you know? And so I was actually getting ready to put him in a box, but then I saw on Cape Joel's channel, he was reviewing the first issue of the Sentry, and I, listened to it, and it sounded like pretty interesting. So I decided to pick up the series. So, the Sentry's about this guy named Robert Reynolds, or Bob Reynolds, whatever you want to call him, I believe, right? And he had this sidekick named Scout, and they had a dog, and he's supposed to be like this golden age hero that's always been here, like something Stan Lee would have created. And it's just cool. He's back. I don't know the last time I've seen him, at least. And I don't really see him that much or know much about him. But now, if he becomes the Sentry, it's too dangerous because something called the Void, which is like a dark version of him, can come out and, possibly take over. So that's not good. And so what Maria Hill, maybe some agents of... Not Maria Hill. So what Misty Knight, I think some Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Tony Stark, some others have done for him is create this world thing where he can go into his mind, and he can go there for 24 hours. Or no, he has to go there every 24 hours, or he will become the Sentry and the Void will escape. And so he goes to this world to live in the heyday. Scout's there, his dog's there, and some girl he has a crush on at work, who I guess has never existed. But I don't remember her name. Sally Sentry something. Anyway, she's in this world too, and it's a perfect world. And he's getting to live in the heyday with his sidekicks and save the day. And so that's real cool. And then when he's not in that Sentry world, he's living his regular life, and he's, let himself go. He's getting old. He works at a diner with Scout and this girl he has a crush on, who he imagines in the Sentry world. And so Sentry one day can't get goes home to use his device that allows him to go back into his world, and it's not there. It's gone. Someone stole it. And now someone has come into the Sentry world, and they've killed Scout and the dog, and they're gonna kill that girl. And you find out that it's some guy named Cranio, and he has 3 brains inside of a tank. Kind of reminds me of the bad guy that Turbo Man faces off in Jingle All the Way. You know what I'm talking about. Anyways, so Cranio, whoever that is, must be an old villain of his, has returned, but he's not working alone. And he's working with his old sidekick, Scout. Scout's been jealous and upset that Bob gets to relive all the glory days, and Scout, I guess, lost his arm on one of their missions, but in the Sentry world he has both of his arms, so he's jealous that, Bob gets to relive the glory days, be Sentry, save the day. He's jealous that he added that girl from work into their world, and so he wants to become Sentry, and if he destroys the Sentry world and all this crap, he can become the new Sentry. And he does get powers and crap, but Sentry is now out in the real world, and Bob's trapped in the Sentry world. Tony and Misty Knight and others are not having it, and they're like, dude, we're gonna have to arrest you. He's like, nope. And it's very action packed. He has to kill his old partner, probably his best friend, I would assume, because he turned evil. You can pick up this series without ever reading or seeing Sentry ever before. Honestly, I think the only time I've ever seen Sentry was it a Secret Invasion maybe, or Civil War. He was in one of those events, right? I think that's the last and only time I've ever seen him. I've never seen him in any form of media outside of the comic books either. But yeah, and besides this action figure that sits over there, I don't know anything about him. And this series, it sounded interesting as soon as I saw the review for the first issue, and so I was like, holy crap, I'm gonna pick it up, read it myself. And I was like, this is amazing. So I picked up the rest of the issues as they came out, and I want to see more. And he fights some of the Avengers and other heroes, and he's like, no, you can't. He like accepts the void, and then his suit becomes red and black, and his eyes are like glowing, and it's real dope. He looks amazing. He's like, this is the only way to defeat this. So the Void, Bob, and Sentry have all become one now. At the end of the day, he's saving it and crap. We're saving the world, and the Avengers are not going to let him stay here anymore. He's going to jail, and he's like, nah, you guys can't defeat me, and I'm not going to jail. And he just like zaps off into the atmosphere, and I'm pretty sure he lands on the moon, and that's where we left it. And I think it is stopping with issue 5, at least for now. And I do hope to see more. We'll find out. It was done by Jeff Lemire. I did not know that. He is a good writer. Good job. Okay. But yes, I definitely recommend going to your local shop, picking up issues 1 through 5, or waiting for the trade to come out. It was definitely really good, and it makes me want to learn more about Sentry. So I'm probably gonna dig around and try to find some stuff at the library or something. But yeah, no, this was a 5 out of 5. It was a fantastic series. I highly recommend it. It allowed me to just jump right in without knowing anything about Bob Reynolds or the Sentry, and it was a great time. I enjoyed it, and I want to see more of him, and I want to see what happens next. But yeah, that's it for this review. Let me know if you guys have ever been a Sentry fan. Do you know anything about him? Or did you read this arc? Did you enjoy it? The typical stuff. Let me know down below, and until next time, stay geeky.